on.
So we finished part 7. That was the last part. And now we should have a rich foundation in all endgame basics. I would say that we do.
Yay.
Of course, you'll add to that knowledge by experience and any extra study you feel like doing. There's always a place for mastering complex positions. Rook and pawn, queen and pawn, king and pawn endgames have unlimited depth. The need to shore up one's openings and add to one's middle game skills forces the 2200 player to take a more practical approach. At this point, concept, in quotations, that is to say memorization, finally takes a back seat to simple understanding, is the thing one needs to round out the endgame skills taught in this book's earlier parts. So we're not going to be memorizing a lot here, is what he's trying to say.
Oh,
I
okay.
guess.
Good.
We'll focus on 6 concepts that will enable the master to play many kinds of endgames with depth and flair. I do like to play with flair. That's my kind of style. Alright, so this is going to be called Cat and Mouse.
Hey, I've gotten faster though, toilet break.
That's true, you were fast today.
Yeah,
that
I've
helped
gotten
us win.
faster.
Especially at the end of that game when you're pre-moving.
Yeah, I got it going on.
Yeah. Weak players usually deal with one-move threats, while players who reach 2000 and 2200 try to imbue every move with a deeper, more expansive purpose. In a normal position where the opponent's trying hard to show his ideas and plans trump yours, every move should be filled with carefully crafted design. However, from time to time, a player is blessed with a position where his opponent is helpless, doomed to passively wait while the stronger side prepares a decisive break or maneuver or tactic, etc. In such situations, it's often good to take your time, make small improvements, and let the horror of the defender's seemingly endless defensive task slowly seep in to his brains. This kind of punishment is known in the chess circles as cat and mouse. A strange rule of thumb is do in 10 what you can do in 2. Interesting.
What, to torment them?
Yeah.
So it's like a psychological aspect? Or?
Well, it makes your opponent play worse if they have to defend for 40 moves instead of 5 moves. You know, if you have a position that's like really good and you're about to like change and make progress, you can wait around a bit if they can't do anything about it, and then make the change, like a pawn break, for example, when you feel like it.
After you've worn them out?
Yeah, wear them out a little bit. Because they want the position to progress.
Yeah.
They don't want to sit there and be tortured.
Because they can't
want
do
to keep
anything.
moving.
Yeah.
So you might as well get it done. The ideas behind this are, if you make some pointed moves right away, your opponent will be expecting it and will take the appropriate measures. However, if you dither about for a while before employing your grand scheme, he'll be lulled into a lobotomized state.
Wow.
Also, since your opponent is helpless, you have nothing to lose by slowing it down.
That's true. Scottish Demon Goat says, unless you're playing Kramnik.
Well, Kramnik would do all this, you know, from the offensive side. Optimizing your position before undertaking a decisive move forward has to be useful. Usually one doesn't have the luxury of wasting time, but sometimes you do. Sometimes you can make sure everything's perfect before you change. Especially in an endgame when there's less pieces on the board. You might find that you're burning up too much time on the clock in an effort to find a final winning maneuver. So if there's another time control, then you can reach it more easily by making rando moves and playing a little cat and mouse. Get that free time. All right, let's look at a position from some famous endgame players. The player with white's going to be our pal, Benko. And black's going to be Averbach.
Yeah, I liked that lobotomize as well, D33.
I've won a lot of games when it's like I'm better in an endgame and I move around and around not doing anything and my opponent blunders it. That happens all the time. And then they get mad, and that's my favorite.
Hi, Ivysaur. You know, I don't know that I like it when my opponent gets mad.
Well, you're
I
not playing the right game.
Well, they get mad a lot, and I mean, I think that I feel like they're raining on my parade. Why? Let me enjoy my moment to win.
No, that's making your parade more paradeful when they get mad at it.
I just pity them. I was like, come on, you can't keep your shit together. You lost to this dumb game.
Yeah. Get him.
Hey, all caps, so wait. It's like, I don't like it when they get like that. I'm always polite. I've never been rude to an opponent, ever.
It's true, Averbach is still alive. And it's also true you've never been impolite to an opponent that I know, at least.
Never. Oh, wow, he's 98?
Mm-hmm.
Does he still play?
I would guess no.
I don't
Maybe
know.
like online for fun.
Maybe.
All right, white to move. Banco had this to say about the position. Black's dream is to trade the b-pawns and the minor pieces and play a rook endgame with 4 against 3. You following this?
No, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I knew you
I
were
was like,
reading the chat.
well, it says
I knew you were reading the chat.
I was trying to understand what Robber Hotzenplotz is.
What?
The all caps, so wait.
Oh, I got you.
I'm sorry. I just did get distracted. I'm glad you can repeat it, but anyway, okay.
I don't know what that is.
We don't know what that is, but okay. I'm sorry. I'm gonna ignore the chat for a moment.
All right, so here's what Banco said about this position right here. Black's dream is to trade the b-pawns and the minor pieces and defend 4 against 3, like how we saw.
Because that's usually a draw.
H5 exclamation.
Oh, yeah.
Dreams are one thing, though, and reality is quite another. I would never allow such a situation to come to pass. That's what Banco said.
Mm-hmm.
Knight c5. Well, he could trade the minor pieces, but not the b-pawns now. Rook a7. If takes, rook takes is a win for white, because white has 2 advantages. His rook is better, obviously, frankly.
Mm-hmm.
This one is active, and that's passive. And he's got an extra pawn on the king side. And the classic principle of 2 weaknesses. So, rook a7. Knight d3. Big check. Pin the tail on the donkey. King f3. White's winning plan is very simple. He intends to slowly improve his position on the king side. Like e4, for example. Defend the knight with the king, like this.
Mm-hmm.
And then eventually win that pawn by taking it, because the knight will be defended. That's the only reason you can't take right now. You take his knight.
Right.
So, rook d2. This stops king e. King e2 is a threat. That wins material. It attacks the rook, protects the knight, and his rook takes pawn is next. So rook d2 prevents that.
Mm-hmm.
Now he plays e4. This defends his rook and advances his majority. And it's going to be king e3. Yeah. Black should have better dreams than to draw this lost position. I would love to draw this position with black against Banco. Come on. I'd show that to my students for the rest of my life. Now he's going to play king e3, like I said, probably. And he goes h5. This move not only prepares to play h4, but also intends to meet king e3 with the check.
Oh, yeah.
Otherwise, white would play king e3
Mm-hmm.
and then take the pawn for free pawn.
Meepex has a question. Doesn't king e4 instead of e4 also defend the knight?
That's true. In fact, in this position, he plays e5 to play king e4. The reason he didn't play king e4 earlier, like here, is that he doesn't want to block his pawns. He wants his pawns to advance 2, because he's got 4 against 3. So when you've got that majority, you always have to be thinking about that in the back of your mind.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I always have to advance these pawns eventually, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And so why not play e4, e5 first, and then king e4?
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I hate losing 2 passed pawn, but I just keep it inside.
You can't hide what's inside.
I keep it in.
You do hide what's inside then.
Mm-hmm.
So e5. H4. Let's see what Banco had to say about this. Another pawn is about to fall. He means he's going to go here and take this. So black tries one last idea. If he can trade as many pawns as possible, he might be able to sacrifice a piece for white's remaining pawns. That is to say, let's say he trades all the pawns that he can.
Mm-hmm.
So white's left with a couple extra pawns. Maybe he can sacrifice his bishop and win both the pawns that way.
Okay, yeah.
And then it's rook and knight against rook. He can draw that.
Oh, I see.
He just takes it. Give me that pawn. It's my pawn. Just take it. I like it. Rook d1. King e2. So now the pin is finally broken. The knight's defended. We're going to win the pawn now. So black's idea is to go take these pawns.
Mm-hmm. Pawns are looking a little scattered.
Scatterbrained. But cost him some time. So now he's going to get the pawn going. Has to get... Oh. Yeah, it's a fly.
I think
He's trying to learn some chess.
I think it's a gnat, but
Sure.
maybe it was a fly, fruit fly.
Yeah, fruit fly don't bother me. All right, Benko is happy to solidify his position and keep black's counterplay to almost 0. Attempting continuation was e6. Looks pretty good. That's probably what I would like to do.
Mm-hmm.
King back. e7. If you take with check, he'll just go here. Now the problem here is that your rook can't move without giving up one of the pawns. And if you move your knight like here, I guess I would go like this maybe? But maybe knight d7. Still seems like white has winning chances here. Anyways, e7. But now this is what he's talking about. Takes and takes this. Where it's going to be tough to win because you only have one pawn left and it's not a passed pawn. And if I trade my 2 for 1, it's a draw. Rook and knight against rook.
Mm-hmm.
So this is probably winning, right? I mean, I didn't trade the pawn yet. I could probably avoid it. But why would we do that right now? We don't have to do that right now. Let's just keep building and see if something better happens in the next 10, 15, 20 moves. If it doesn't, then we'll do like a variation like that.
Right.
Let him sack the bishop for 2 pawns and try to draw like that.
Mepex says rook b7 question mark.
He didn't like white to play rook b7 here. Right, rook b7, the idea is to play e6.
Oh, okay.
That's why he did it. Yeah, if you play b7, the problem is if I ever play rook b1, you can't let my bishop attack your rook because then you'll lose your pawn. So having the rook trapped on a dark square is not ideal. And that's why he played rook b7. Now, he played rook b8 earlier. That actually forced the king up to unpin the bishop. Then rook b7. That's why he played rook b8, then rook b7. So that's the point here. Rook b1, f4. So he just keeps chilling. Much like a villain. So nothing's happening. Rook b8 again. Now, so the difference is white's king got a little closer to his passed pawn. So that's helpful. And all of white's pieces are very well placed. Hard to make them any better. So here, Averbach tries a little desperation. He goes like this. Can't really blame him for it. Let's say he continues to do nothing like how we've seen. King g7. But white can actually win by force here. Just making sure, yes. Maybe you can find a forcing win here for white. Force the win. Don't give him any chances. Game over. Game over, man. Game over. Manmoth almost has it. He's got it. He just missed. He just typoed. Manmoth's pretty good though. No wonder. Scottish Demon Goat loves b6. You see, tactics are always important, even in a technical endgame like this. Or they've just been moving around doing nothing. Oh, Sean, he knows that. He's just joking. Classic Scottish demon goat. Yeah, what are you, new here, Sean? Come on. Scottish demon goat's always doing that. He's like, it's like anti-humor, you know? I'm a big fan of anti-humor.
I don't know. A tactic?
Yeah. Forcing move.
Let's see.
Clumsy Beard again almost has it, but you know, the wrong the little typo there. Is my shirt anti-humor? I don't know. It's Rick and Morty. I don't know if that counts. Rick and Morty is more mainstream humor, I would say. Also, I got a little pin, a little gym badge. That's not humorous, though. Is there any forcing moves you were thinking of here?
No.
None? None at all?
Well, none that are any good.
That's still not right, Clumsy Beard. Come on.
Did chat get it already?
Yeah, Man Moth helped him out.
Mm.
The man, the moth, the legend.
I don't see any force. I mean, I see forcing moves, but
Such as?
it's not going to just give material away.
Yeah, well, maybe you should.
Our rook takes bishop.
Correct.
But I mean, I don't see the follow-on.
So the idea is that you want to play knight b4 so that you can queen and block the rook. But he'll take it.
Then you can have an interference going on.
Yeah,
Well, I
your pawn queens.
Darn, I had those ideas. I just couldn't quite bring it together.
Yeah, for example, check and here might be the best defense, but you're obviously going to lose.
Yeah.
You can play knight c3 first, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So that was the threat.
Yeah, look at Man Moth. Hey, Clumsy Beard.
Good name.
Mm-hmm.
So g5, that's Averbach saw that, so he's like, let's try to do something. Then maybe I can make a pass pawn. Well, if you take and play knight b4, then I got a pass pawn too.
Mm-hmm.
But he just took. Then after here, he did take this. It didn't really help. Trying his best. So he played rook takes bishop. Or rook takes pawn rather. We already saw if he plays king takes bishop or king takes rook rather. What happens there?
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Rook d8. So now he's got too much material. So now his point is if you take here, I'm going to play that. So he goes here. Can't really defend his pawn anyway. Still not a very easy win. Not a very easy win. We can compare this to that other position when we let black give up the bishop for the pawns. White had a pawn on f2, and black had 2 pawns. Here black only has 1 pawn against the e pawn instead of f pawn. So this is already better winning chances than that other position we saw, because he just moved around and improved the position a little bit first.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a benefit that you get from improving your position. You could do the same thing but better, assuming your opponent doesn't have much counterplay, of course. Yeah, he would love to remove those pawns. So Benko, this game's clearly a win now, but Benko's going to be really patient about it. Obviously, frankly, he can't allow the exchange of the last pair of pawns. Other than that, his goal is clear. Make use of this rook, combine with the king and knight to attack f7. You know, like there. That'd be good. Yeah, then if he defends, we can step up with our king and help as well. Maybe rook g6 check, but okay, we'll find a way in. Yeah, and we can also create potential mating threats too. So let's take our sweet time. Look at this. That's playing cat and mouse. Do nothing. Great technique here. Hope you guys are learning about doing nothing. So Benko finally decides to do the right plan here. He's going to bring his king down the board and prepare to create a winning king and pawn versus king position. Like, imagine his king's here.
Oh, yeah.
He'll just take it. And that'll end the resistance.
Mm-hmm.
So, he actually goes king b7. Sorry about that. So, yeah, Averbach sees what's going to happen here. So he, I'm trying to delete this other variation. It won't let me. There we go. So he just trades rooks. You know, he could go here and then there. And already we can take. Game over. So here he trades rooks. And then boom, shakalaka. Resigns. It's the same thing, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Not taking the knight isn't going to help because the knight is defending the pawn.
Right, yeah.
Otherwise, king here would be kind of annoying, actually. So great technique by Benko. In multiple phases of this game, this endgame, he moved around and didn't do a plan. He was just improving. Even from the start, before he won the pawn. Then, okay, Averbach is always forcing the issue because he sees the writing on the wall.
They're asking what year the game is from.
Let's see. 58. And yeah, even here he's moving around, just improving slowly, not doing much. But now he's actually got the threat of rook f7, rook f8. So again, Averbach tries to avoid that. And then here again, he maneuvers around and around in a technical win until he finds the right idea of bringing the king up and taking on f7.
Yeah, we're going by the Silman's Complete Endgame book, which has mostly been just positions, but then I guess they have some real games
Yeah, at
now.
the end here.
Yeah.
This is the last 2 chapters.
Mm-hmm. So, so and all of these lectures are on Twitch and video on demand. Sorry, I do L value. But they only stay around for 2 weeks because I'm only an affiliate and not a Twitch partner. So the other ones you can also find on our YouTube channel.
Right, we export them there and I upload them.
Mm-hmm.
Let's look at another Benko game, this time against the Torch.
Mainly, etc.
Corch the Torch.
Aw, thank you. And no, that's not true, but...
Looking 21.
Mm-hmm. I've heard that at the karaoke bar when
Right, she's always getting carded.
people are drunk. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm definitely going to karaoke tomorrow night.
I'll probably go too then.
Dude, I will.
I was already considering it.
I'm going to be there as soon as they open. I'm going to sing like a million songs.
Wow. I have to get at least 999,000 songs ready then, so I can keep up. All right, let's make sure that this is correct before we continue.
We could probably do a karaoke stream. How do people...
I would like to do that.
I'll ask a question, and then before you're still setting it up anyway, I think, aren't you?
No, I'm finished.
Real quick, because I noticed... no, there are not any good chess songs. But I noticed...
One Night in Bangkok. It's not very good, but
Hey,
trying.
does anybody know, I'm not really interested in doing... I mean, I just want to do chess streams, but I want to do maybe some other games too. But it would be fun to stream the karaoke just quickly. But how do people have? I guess you're just dependent on their satellite internet. Like for example, that Melina, that Just Chatting streamer, or what's the other one, Mira. They're going all over Italy and all over the place, and it always looks so beautiful. And the internet seems fine. And I didn't know that you could get such good streaming internet just over the phone, but I guess you can.
Oh.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, there is probably a copyright issue. Darn. I do remember that now. I just recently read the terms of service because I was trying to figure out what's allowed with karaoke, and you have to use the app put out by Twitch. Forgot, I think it's called
Twitch
Sings.
or something?
Yeah, because if you try to use any other karaoke versions on YouTube or whatever, those are actually.
But if we do use that,
Darn.
then then is it still going to be copyrighted?
Not if we use their app, but we wouldn't be able to do that at the bar.
Well,
But,
yeah, but we're talking about.
Here, yeah, definitely. I agree with that.
Yeah. Oh, you're talking about like your phone streaming at the bar?
I thought that's what they meant.
No, they meant karaoke.
Oh,
streaming,
karaoke
like,
streaming?
here.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, I misunderstood what you're
pretty
asking
sure.
for. Yeah, that would be allowed, although they make it clear in the terms of service that if those songs ever become not allowed,
You'll be demonetized or whatever.
well, they might. I don't know if you'd get a DMCA violation, but you have to. They're not responsible for it after the fact. Like later, the rule, that particular song is not allowed in their catalog, and if you already have a video on demand out with that song, I mean, you have to take it down. And
Sure.
I don't know if they would issue a violation or not. That seems pretty lame.
Right.
But they don't monitor the list as it changes.
Also, doesn't it? If we export these to YouTube, won't we have to learn more rules about YouTube karaoke?
Oh, definitely. It would. Yeah. Yeah, we'd have to learn
Yeah,
about.
that's what I figured.
I'm not sure if it would be allowed on YouTube. They do mute it. That's true, Scottish Demon Goat. But for a while there, they were handing out all these DMCA violations, and
That's true.
Botez and a bunch of other streamers bigger than Botez even were frantically taking down their content, and then they're not doing that anymore because the record companies went away. So people are back to playing, but they don't put those on YouTube. The people that are playing music do different content for you. YouTube's really, really picky. Can't get away from that.
All right, let's go on with this, huh?
Yeah, sorry.
So, Benko Korchnoi from 1962, because you guys like to know the year. So, Benko has white. He played knight d4. Benko says, I was willing to trade my bishop for their knight, because I felt that ultimately my knight would prove more useful than the enemy bishop. This is actually what you and I were talking about. Mm-hmm. He's looking at the end result of the position and evaluating positionally what's going to happen then, rather than saying like my bishop's good or his knight's bad or whatever.
At that moment.
Right. He's saying like at the end what's the deal going to be.
Yeah, and that's because you guys are higher. Obviously you can visualize better what the end's going to be.
Oh yeah, I have some experience too. Mm-hmm. In trying to win by positional means. Mm-hmm. But okay, so he goes knight c4 check and just snaps it off. That's what he's talking about. Starts to double it up. Korchnoi swaps them. Now here's a key positional move that Silman sort of... Well, he actually gives Benko's analysis. That's why he doesn't mention. He plays e5. That's a very good positional move here. Well, for one, it's pretty obvious that it cuts the king off, so that's already pretty good. Mm-hmm. The king's sort of put in a box here. Also, it's nice to put the pawn on a dark square and lock the enemy pawn on a white square, because he has a white square bishop. So both of those scenarios favor white because of that. And it just gains a little space, which can't hurt either. So it's a really good positional move. Let's see what Benko has to say about it. In such positions, little things make all the difference. Here I'm gaining central space, getting my pawn off the color of black's bishop, and by preventing black from playing e6, e5, making sure the d4 square will be permanently available for my knight or king. So he's saying that because you can't play e5, he's always going to have access to this square for his king or knight, if he moves his knight away from his king there. And if black was ever allowed to play e5, then that wouldn't be the case, obviously. You couldn't play king d4, or you couldn't keep your knight there.
You would never play e5, Scottish Demon Goat?
Well, Scottish Demon Goat's not exactly a positional player, I would say.
Yay.
Oh, SM Rosny.
Thank you, SM Rosny.
Nice. Yeah, great time to subscribe for
Yay.
6 months.
Oh, yeah, this is the last day.
The last day of September.
I need to go renew some of my subs.
Right.
Thank you.
I got a sub here and to my dad's channel again. All right.
And then Manmoth says that the knight will always be superior, even though there are pawns on either side. It shows class to arrive at that judgment.
That's true, yeah. You would think that with pawns on both sides that the bishop could, benefit from that. But this knight's really good. And the pawn's on a white square, which is not great.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, that is favoring the knight in this case. Alright, so then he goes rook c8. Does Korchnoi? So he trades him off. Alright, here's another Benko quote. The rooks are traded, and to the uninitiated, the game appears to be headed for a draw. However, the position is actually very pleasant for white, because only he can play for a win, while black will be defending for a long time to come. Why is white better here? The flexibility of the knight is one huge factor. The d6 square in particular is calling out. And my central space advantage and superior king also combine to make black's life unpleasant. Really good notes by Benko. Way better than Silman's notes. No, Silman's notes are pretty good too. In fact, here's a Silman note. Note how Benko is raving about the superiority of his knight over black's bishop. We'll delve far deeper into the knight worship in this section and the pleasures of the knight. That's a later part of this part. Is called the pleasures of the knight, I guess. Sounds like a, X-rated film.
Yeah.
Fantasy film or something. Here. 94. Yeah, that knight's looking pretty nice. But Korchnoi always plays bishop f1. He's pretty good. And finally, here comes knight d6, like he said. And f5. Benko says, white's position's improved, but black has everything covered. Now starts a long game of cat and mouse. Benko said that. Not even, what's his name?
Yay. Thank you, Marquette Sands.
Nice. Great time to subscribe. I make little jabs at his weak points and torment him endlessly. Just goes back. Note that if you take it, your knight's kind of trapped. You could still try to play a4, like this.
Mm-hmm.
But now it's a draw.
Yeah.
White can't infiltrate with the king anymore.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Locked herself out.
And what if I try to win over here, though? But anyways, you don't need to do this. Just always repeat. And always play bishop f1. So these are pretty good. Oh, he didn't repeat. But his bishop's already on f1, so, can't play bishop f1 again. So here's a lot of moves with no notes. Always repeat. Hope you guys learned that by now. Korchnoi actually did a thing. Wow. Korchnoi obviously happy to trade pawns,
Mm-hmm. I'm sorry, I forgot who's playing here. Korchnoi.
Benko's white.
Oh, Benko
Against
again.
Korchnoi, yeah.
Okay.
That's why we're reading all those Benko notes.
Yeah, I like the fact that he included Benko's notes.
Yeah, I like that too.
Mm-hmm.
Benko's pretty good. Bishop d5. Okay, so here something could have happened, right? He could have traded the pawns.
Right.
Like this.
Mm-hmm.
Here's a long variation here. Now he's trying to target this. If he goes here, it's hitting both pawns. So you have to defend this one and then defend the other one like this, I think.
But you're saying they did not do this?
Correct.
Okay.
And now white wins by going there and taking the pawn. So that's why Korchnoi didn't trade. And in case you're thinking they didn't calculate all that, they did. They 100% did.
Quickly.
No doubt about it, yeah. Always repeat. Yes, passed pawn, passed to pawn. Benko with a C is also a pretty good drink. I believe it. I can't say for sure, but I believe it. Knight f8. Knight h7. So again, he's going for this sweet square. But now Korchnoi is on a tear. So he actually gives him the check back. And he steps his king up. So Korchnoi's doing what he can here. You know, he's trying to combine this idea with that idea to sort of keep white busy and not let him have time to win. So Korchnoi's creating counterplay, and Benko is just trying to stop it. So we already had this position before. Last time he went here, if you remember. But now he does play knight g5. Threatening this. Also touching this. But there's a problem. If you take here, he'll go like this. And then try to run in. And you can't move your knight because your f-pawn will be hanging. Although maybe you can try to move your knight and... Well, you can't take that because my bishop will defend it. So it's a tense situation here. White's cat and mouse his opponent into near state of coma. And decides to carry out his final assault with knight g5. b5. And king d3. b5, I think, was actually the only move, right? This is Zugzwang, which he doesn't mention here. But this is Zugzwang, because obviously you can't go here. If you go here, I can take this pawn, because your king is overloaded. If you move your king away, then I'll take this and you can't play king e4. If you move your bishop here, this variation I gave with knight takes, king here, knight back, check, is good because this pawn will be hanging, because the bishop's not on a2 anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So the bishop can't move and the king can't move. So he plays b5, it's the only move. King d3. Here's a note from Benko. Suddenly, black is facing some serious problems. White's willing to enter a race by giving up his b-pawn, because the past e or h pawns, whichever one white creates, will prove faster. Note that immediately taking here would be an error because of king e4, he says. Doesn't give any variation, but yeah, why not stop king e4, right? So here's what he meant with the race that's going to happen here. Check. Move the king away. Bishop f1. So now he can go take the pawn and try to queen his b-pawn.
Mm-hmm.
In the meantime, white's going to either take the h-pawn, which seems less likely now that he played bishop f1, or take the e-pawn and push his e-pawn. But see, he moved around and did nothing. Look at this chunk of moves, right? Like 15, 20 moves of moving around doing nothing. Now we actually have to calculate and figure it out. And now Benko actually blunders it. King g3, double question mark. Evidently, Korchnoi wasn't the only one tired from the battle. Benko could have forced a win with king e2 exclam. Nice move. This allows the king to stop the black pawn. In case we take these pawns and it's a race, white's king can go defend. For example, king c4, knight takes e6. King takes knight d4. We can take this. And now king d2. Etc. Mainly, etc. Your pawn's not going to win now. I can stop you. And I'm also going to queen my pawns. Move my knight and queen my pawns. This still takes some effort to win, but this should be a win. It's a pawn up and you got connected past pawns and he's not going to queen.
Mm-hmm.
So you generally would think that's winning. So king e2 was exclam. Instead, he plays king g3 to try to take the h-pawn. Although he does take the e-pawn, as it turns out, because that's further advanced, I guess. Now, Korchnoi blunders it. King c4. Here's Benko's analysis, or note, rather. Korchnoi finally cracks, which is kind of funny, because he was like lost in the beginning, and then Benko messed it up, and then he's like, Korchnoi finally cracked. He had to try king c5 exclam, when the game would be a draw. Takes b4, knight e3, b3, knight d1. See, now in this variation, Benko had to use his knight to stop the pawn as opposed to his king. His king's kind of doing nothing.
Mm-hmm.
I guess it's holding the bishop, but it's not really doing much. Let's continue. King d4. It's a weird move, so I have to make sure it's right. Here, I have to do this. So now he's going to try to hit the knight, right? King d3. And a peaceful conclusion can't be avoided, says Banco. And that's true. You can't really let me take the knight and queen because your pawns aren't fast enough. They're not even queening at all. The bishop stops them all. I mean, they'll eventually queen, but not before the black pawn queens if you let me take the knight. So we have to do the thing where we move our knight and then we move our knight back. We saw that earlier in the book,
Yeah,
actually.
I remember that.
So king c5 is enough to draw. But king c4 actually loses. King takes h3 seems bad. Why not defend the knight? Well, how are you going to win then? You know, he wants to play king takes h3 so he can push this pawn with his king's help. And then, you know, queen. Right? Your bishop can't stop them all. If you go here, what's your winning plan? You're going to defend your knight, and then what? What if black does nothing? How do you win? You don't have a pass pawn here. These guys aren't going to beat the bishop. How are you going to break that bishop? There's no way. So you can't win without your king or the pawn or the knight. And here white has none of those. White only has the two pawns working. Everybody else is stuck. So this isn't really a winning attempt. So why doesn't king c4 draw? Let's see. Takes. We do get knight e3 check. Okay. And he even takes this. And now we're just in a queen endgame where he's up two pawns. So this should generally win. So the difference here is that with king c4, we get to play knight e3 check and take your bishop. With king c5, knight e3, it's not check.
Right.
So we're tempo up to play here. And now if you take the bishop, I'll just go here. And then black's winning. Just making sure there's no knight tricks, but no. Okay, you have to win a queen against knight in 3, but it should win. Still a little tricky, I guess. But. So yeah, anyways, the game went like this, and now he can check. You have to move the king. Give me that. And now they get a queen endgame where he's two pawns up.
Yeah, leave it there for 1 second.
Sure.
So, I guess you can escape the check. Like if the queen immediately checks, you can just run up.
Yeah, that's the plan. You're going to run up and use your queen and pawn to shield.
Shield, okay.
I'm not going to let you take my b pawn, or you're just going to take it off the board by magic. You're just going to pick it up.
Take the b pawn.
There's no way.
And make.
He's talking about here.
Okay.
How are you going to take my b pawn? I'd love to see that.
Make black sack the bishop.
There's no way. You can't take my b pawn, and you can't make me sack the bishop. Just go back and forth. But seriously, how are you going to take that pawn? I'd love to see how. There's just no possible way that you can take my pawn off the board. You'd have to be like, hey, look over there, and then pick it up. That's the only way. There's just no way.
Well, no.
How can you sack the knight for it? I'm not even going to let you do that. If you move your knight away, I'm going to play b2. Then I'm going to play b1. I'm not even going to let you do that. These guys are just holding each other steady. You know, that's all there is to it. I can't push the pawn because of the knight, but you can't move your knight away because then I'll push my pawn. So there's absolutely no way forward here. This is a dead draw. Now this is a position we can win. 2 pawns extra.
Lepex was thinking there might be some kind of Zugzwang at some point.
You're going to Zugzwang me? You're going to Zugzwang me? I'll go here and there.
Okay.
I'm going to go bishop e8, bishop f7. There's no legal way you could possibly even attempt to win the position. You'd have to win by illegal means, like kicking your opponent really hard. Or like they have a heart attack and they have to go to the hospital. There's just no way. All right, let's see how this game ended.
Well, if the king had moved down, I could see what he means. Like,
if black's king moved,
yeah,
like away?
No. I mean, I'm not saying it would happen. I'm just saying I could see what he's asking about, which is maybe the king would have to move away once this pawn advances, and then if you move down here and attack the knight. You know.
I'm just going to go here and back. I'm not going to do anything. I'm not going to try to win. I mean, black's
You're not
worse.
going to move your king. You
I'm
just
not
move
going
the
to care.
bishop.
Yeah, I'll just move back and
I
forth.
see that.
Yeah, there's no way.
Because the king can stand in as...
If you check me, I'll move my king. That's the only way.
Yeah. No, I'm just saying. I see what he means.
All right, so here, let's see. The rest is an easy win for white, he says. Check. Here, trying to check like that. This check. Now, there's a rule of thumb for queen endgames, like if you're trying to draw it, like black is here, that you want to check from as far away as possible generally, because this usually gives you more checks later available. So that's why he played queen a7 and queen a2 check and queen a7. He's got a lot of options because it's a queen.
Oh, because you can swing it to the other side.
Yeah, you've got
easier.
a lot of approach, avenues to approach. But it's not going to work here because he's down too much material. And the pawns are pretty solid too. There. Here comes another check. Let's make the legal move if I can. Now you can't take the pawn because I'll pin you and trade queens and win. So he goes for this.
Sorry to interrupt. So back a couple moves when they...
Well, let me just say one more thing.
I just thought the move white could
F6
flop.
resigns.
Oh.
That's all. All right, what did you think?
Well, go back. And
More?
Yeah, okay. This check here.
Oh, you can't block with the queen because it's free.
Oh, yeah. Okay, sorry.
Otherwise, that would be the right move. Forcing the queen trade. Like if the king was there, then yeah, that would be good.
Okay, I see now.
So good technique. He made that queen and two pawns look pretty easy, actually. Where I would have a little bit more trouble. But now it's so easy when there's no check and you have the queening square covered and it's already about to queen. He still could, he could have defended a little bit more, but come on, it should resign. So are you getting the feel for the power of cat and mouse yet? Remember, the concept in this chapter are not something to be memorized. They're ideas that need to be embraced. Benko did such a great job teaching us about the effectiveness of this idea cat and mouse. I'll let him drive the message home by borrowing one example from Pal Benko, My Life, Games, and Compositions. This time, he cat and mouse is one of the greatest endgame players of all time. Oh, I'm excited to see this. Yes, this is one of the greatest endgame players of all time.
You liked that tip passed upon about checking with the queen at a distance?
Yeah, that's usually the right way to go. But obviously, queen and pawn endgames, there's a lot of tactics because of, queens get some tricks. And they're also like stalemate tricks, so you have to always keep that in mind.
Hey, Indo Queen.
Oh, nice. Indo's coming in on us. So here Benko has white. I guess Silman just loves Benko. I think that's it.
Obviously.
Yeah.
Every game example is Benko.
I was reading these two chess books, one after the other. I read one, then I read the other. And then I was like, reading the second book. It's like, man, I've seen this game before. It was in the previous book. And then I looked and it was the same author.
Oh.
I was like, oh, okay. It was Jonathan Helston.
Reusing his material.
Yeah, so I was like, hey, I've seen this before. I was like, oh, it's in the other book. Today we're looking at playing cat and mouse. One of our favorite things to do.
Yeah, it's still in-game studies.
Yeah, we're on the penultimate chapter here. So Benko against Smyslov from 1959. Smyslov, definitely one of my favorites. White, with an extra pawn and a superior king and a strong knight versus a bishop should win. However, it won't be easy. This is what Benko had to say. The game was adjourned here, and after analyzing at leisure, I realized the win would take quite a long time. If victory is to be achieved, the white king will have to find a way to penetrate. Unfortunately, black's king and bishop make this difficult. As a result, I decided that it was time for a bit of cat and mouse. I would patiently maneuver, hoping to make Smyslov less alert. I knew such a long-term torture from a passive position would be very difficult for black to deal with, so I sat down and resumed the game, ready for a lengthy siege. It sort of seems like Smith. What's his name? Silman wrote this.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah. Check.
Smyslov. That's the one. Is that the one Ben played? Or
He was at my dad's wedding.
oh, wedding. Maybe that's the story.
Yeah. I don't know if he ever played Smyslov. I would
There
think
was
no,
oh
but maybe. I can't remember the game. I wonder if he ever played Gelfand.
no. There he tells the story about that when he drew 2 pawns down, everybody.
That was Smearin.
Oh, Smearin. It was an
Similar.
SM word. Yeah. Okay.
Smearin's pretty good too.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry.
F5 check. Here's what Banco says. The first order of business is to push back the black king. It isn't optimal to place my pawn on the white squares, because he has a white square bishop, but I had no choice in the matter. And Silman adds that after F5 check, black is completely passive and can't do anything but go back and forth and hope that white can't find a way to finish him off. So this is a position that's screaming for cat and mouse.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it did play Smyslov, Seth? Okay.
Oh, I didn't know that.
But it wasn't the story,
I didn't.
different.
I don't know if he told me.
Yeah.
I feel like he would, but maybe I forgot.
Yes. Hard to remember.
Continuing cat and mouse. The more straightforward king a4 is possible. It actually wins by force, says Silman. Here. Bishop e2. By the way, if you play king d7 continuing to do nothing, he'll go here. Still, this is a long sub-variation, but okay, we're pretty deep in the book now, so it's going to be tougher to analyze. X-clam. Brilliant stuff. Has to go here, and white wins. The bishop can't stop both pawns.
Oh, okay.
Really nice stuff there. I love that variation.
Wow. That's pretty exciting. That's...
Definitely sacking the piece in a knight versus bishop endgame.
Yeah.
To win with the passed pawns. That's what you dream of, really. In an endgame, at least.
Mm-hmm.
But if bishop e2, knight check, king d8, and knight takes f6 will win. This is analysis by Banco, by the way.
Okay. Oh, thank you, Pam.
I'm so glad Spencer reads so well. Yeah, you would have never guessed that I didn't go to college.
Thank you for that sub. Jay Cheatham was asking if that's a Rick and Morty shirt.
It is a Rick and Morty shirt. Yes. You could tell by the portal gun and Rick and Morty.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Portal gun, though. So king a4 actually wins by force, says Banco. But he analyzed that after the game, obviously. He played king c3 this game. During the game. King e7. Knight c4. Knight e3. So he's going to d4 probably. Yes. Always play bishop f1. And Smyslov unfortunately loved to play bishop f1. Smyslov wrongly assumed that after king c7, white wouldn't be able to win the h-pawn because the knight gets trapped. However, black was dead lost in any case. For example, if bishop e8, b5, takes, with knight d6 coming, or even knight c3 to e4, mixed with the idea of pushing the c-pawn, and or advancing the king to h5 to h6, black is going to be overwhelmed by those three ideas. So he plays king c7. And now you'll see that Banco goes and takes the h-pawn, which Smyslov thinks is not going to win, but he's incorrect. Or maybe he did think it was going to win, but, got to do something because everything loses.
Mm-hmm.
If king c8, he played king d7, but if king c8 here, that's going to be a pretty easy win. Go collect the pawn, and we're up 2 pawns. So he played king d7. Check. And so Smyslov was like, haha, I got your knight. It's like, got your nose, but for chess players. But Benko saw this coming. Knight g5 exclam. We already saw a similar variation where we're sacrificing the knight for the passed pawns.
Mm-hmm.
But now white has basically 3 passed pawns, right? He's got 2. But also he can, at any moment, play b5, and here's the 3rd.
Right, yeah.
So, white's pawns are unstoppable, says Silman. Black must also take this break into account, like I said. So let's see. King f7. Yeah, now you can't take here because I'll push. You have to take there, and then I'm going to win king and 2 against 1.
Mm-hmm.
So, what was the last move? King e7?
Hey.
This mail says, do not discard. Man, am I going to discard it?
Mm-hmm.
I love when mail says that.
Also,
I'm like, you
it's-
can't tell me what to
It's
do.
mailed from Austin, Texas, so it's pretty discardable.
Resigns.
Well, don't show it on this. If it's personal.
Right, it doesn't say don't show on the stream.
Yeah, this is the most garbagey thing that's ever happened. There's never been any more garbage. What game is this?
Benko Smyslov.
Banco Smyslov.
Yeah, can you believe Benko beat Smyslov?
Yeah, Banco wasn't bad in the 50s.
No,
So it's
Benko was
50s?
really good.
50s?
Yeah, 59. 59.
Yeah. Also, Smyslov was pretty good in 59.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Seth said you played Smyslov.
I've played
Right, I
Smyslov
didn't
twice.
remember
Twice?
that, I
I
guess.
played him in a rated game at Lloyd's Bank in 88, and I played him in a simul in 84 in Moscow.
Mm.
Oh, yeah, I did know you played him in a simul.
Yeah, he was crushing me, and then he sacked the
Sack the
exchange. for nothing.
exchange, yes. I did remember
I
that.
don't think I have that game.
Hey, Barn Salad. How's it going?
There aren't any Perriers, though.
You wipe right here.
Hmm?
There's something on your lip.
No. Also,
Don't give him any lip.
what was that box that was destroyed?
It was tea. Thanks, Bauer and Salad 72.
Wow.
55
Yay.
They shipped
Thank you,
Perrier
Barn
today,
Salad.
so we'll get it
How come
Friday.
you don't like the tea?
I do.
Oh.
I've had tea I've had a Perrier in like a week.
He's been cutting down.
Whenever it's Perrier and
It's not
tea,
okay.
you drink Perrier, though.
Correct.
Yeah.
It was 2 things of tea.
It-
So I filled the fridge with tea.
Yeah, but there were like 72 Perrier.
You've been cutting
Yeah.
down still, right? Hey, thank you, Taco Joe.
For the
What does
100 bits.
72 Perrier remind you of?
And thank you again, Bauer and
72
Salad.
virgins.
Yes.
That's very generous. I appreciate
Yes.
it. Yay.
That's my boy.
Off gets Hypsuk.
Did you want to keep it going or what?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can keep it going for a
Yeah,
little
he's
bit more.
we've only been streaming for not even an hour and a half.
Right.
So that was the Ben Finegold.
Obviously, cat and mouse and patience go hand in hand. Our next example shows international master Jack Peters picking his opponent apart in an unhurried and impressive fashion. I've heard of Jack Peters.
But no Benko.
That's a good one.
Not this time.
Yay!
We already said thanks to him.
Are you
though.
guys on
Not
the train
Adam.
now?
Oh, yeah. Oh, that noise wasn't Adam, though. For that
Oh.
bit. Yeah, it was
Hey,
Tom.
thank you, Adam Dark
Adam will
Squares.
be
You are on a
similar.
train.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, we
Well, I
are at
could
level
give you
2.
money on the train from my phone behind you. See that coming.
Oh, yeah?
That would be, like, poetic. or
Yay,
something.
thank you, Dork
Would
the
it be
cat.
justice?
Well, I can't say.
Everybody's gone crazy all of a sudden. Yay,
Like
thank you,
heart?
guys. Thank you, GM Benjamin Finegold.
More like CeeLo.
I thought I cheered, but I don't see it. Oh, I did do it.
Yeah,
It's
I
right
see it.
there.
250.
My
I just
phone
did-
doesn't have it so good.
The sound is delayed, or I don't know what's going on.
No, it's because there are too many people donating at once, so it
Oh,
keeps
it's
pushing it
queuing it up.
off. Yeah.
Karen's now used to level 3.
Tell Ben I subbed LOL. Pam subbed LOL.
Yes, she did.
Go Pam.
Pam did,
Stay
and
there.
Bauer and Salad gave 5 subs. People are giving cent-to-dos left and right.
So in baseball today,
Oh my goodness.
there were several records in one game.
Yeah.
0-0 in the 13th inning. So that broke a playoff record. That's never happened.
Wow.
And
That's
there were
pretty
a
boring.
million strikeouts. There were more strikeouts in that game than any game ever.
Wow.
Then the bottom of the 13th, the Braves win 1-0.
Yay. Thank you, Mepex, for this
500
500 cent-to-dos.
Speaking of
Yay.
500, the game was 5 hours.
Wow.
What's worse, baseball or 5 hours of baseball?
What?
nonstop?
Everybody's gone crazy.
200
Thank
bits
you.
from all caps.
Yeah, usually it's
So
what do you call it?
wait.
It's a domino effect. Checkmate.
You're right. The rest of the cards will fall. What does it go?
Oh, it's a great quote.
Can
Next,
you,
the dominoes will fall like
can
a
you all
house of
say
cards.
little bits? Little bits.
What's that from, Karen?
Don't look at my shirt.
Is
It'll
it
help
from
you.
Rick and Morty?
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you have a big head and a small mouth? That's a great scene.
Little tiny fried eggs.
Uh-huh.
Yay, thank you for
You know,
those.
at the end he goes in the bathroom.
Thank you for those
Yeah.
little bits.
He was just kidding, though.
Oh, man.
I feel like white can win this. You're incorrect, Scottish Demon Guy.
I'm not a sports fan.
Sports are so boring.
Do any of you? But you know, that's just me. I don't mind hearing
Let's
about
watch
it from you.
millionaires exercise. Really fun. Oh, 1,000 bits from Taco Joe.
What?
Thanks, Taco.
Crazy. Thank you, Taco
Yeah,
Joe.
this train is getting out of control.
Everybody's going crazy today.
All right, let's look at this game. The player with white is named Shoot, Schutt, Shoot, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Did you tell everybody
Against-
we're opening?
We
No.
didn't. Oh my goodness, I'm never gonna start this game. Oh yeah, we're opening.
Well, I mean, most
October 7th. will
these
be-
guys don't care as much because they're not coming.
Yeah.
But
That's true.
I guess you guys care, but that was a great quote. Let's watch millionaires
Right.
exercise.
Yes.
I agree, me pecs. Thank you, GM Benjamin Finegold.
250 bits.
Which opening? We're going to reopen the chess club and hopefully not die of COVID.
And another 100 bits.
Starting
and
next
even
week.
more bits from Doric the Cat.
Doric the cat, yay! You're still recovering from the debate. 100 senators. I watched a little bit of it today. It was crazy.
Oh, I would never watch something so ridiculous.
Oh, it was fun to watch. I was watching while I was showering.
I'd rather watch sports. Dang, our hype train's at level 4.
COVID. Wow, you guys are great. I love you
Dang.
guys. Don't listen to what Ben says about you guys. You guys are the best.
No matter how true it is.
No, I love these guys.
All right, so this is Schutt against Peters from 1989.
Mm-hmm.
Such a bad bishop, right? This almost always lost this kind of position. White's pawns are all on light squares, so they're all targets for black's bishop. And even exchanging the bishops will lead to a lost king and pawn endgame, since black's king is so deeply entrenched into the position. You can go pick him up. So in the present case, the position seems resignable for white. However, wow, look at this. I didn't see this one coming. Bishop e2.
Wow. What?
What a trick. Yes, bishop e2. A shocking move. Taking the bishop stalemate.
Oh.
Haven't seen a stalemate like that before.
No.
Yes.
I didn't even see that at first. I was trying to figure out what was going on. Worst is Austrian for doesn't matter. I can imagine.
Here. So now black's, because of this maneuver, this trick stalemate, black's king is prevented from infiltrating on the queen side and picking up those pawns. Always do that. Probably you can guess this move. Okay, won't stalemate. So it seems like black might not be able to win, but king f1. Black is still winning. Having accepted white's miracle defense, black calmly plans the following. Oh, we got another 100 bits from all caps, so wait.
Yay, thank you,
Nice.
all caps, so wait.
So here's what black's going to do. He's going to swing his king around to g3, where it actually was earlier in the game, by the way. White's king will then be stuck, keeping it out of f2 and f4. So if he gets his king here, white will have to prevent that, the king from infiltrating to f2 or f4. Next, he'll force his opponent's bishop, he'll force his own bishop, rather, into white's camp, into d1. Then, once that's done, black will make use of tempo moves and attack against the white pawns to decisively penetrate with his king. If white tries to prevent this by, like, for example, stopping black's bishop from going to d1, by placing his bishop on this diagonal here, black's king will march back to e1, but then there won't be the stalemate trick. The bishop has to be on this diagonal for that to happen.
Okay.
So he does all this stuff. Let's watch him do it.
Thank you, GM Benjamin Finegold.
Now he's forced to play bishop e2 because bishop f1 always play that as a threat. And if you allow bishop f1, it's over. You can't answer bishop f1 with bishop e2 because then I'll trade and play king g2 and shoulder you out. Or what do you call it? Outflank you. So he has to play bishop e2.
Thank you for those gift subs, GM Benjamin Finegold.
Nice. We must be at level 5 by now.
I guess he wanted to keep the train going. Did it happen, though?
Level 4 complete.
Oh, it did.
Nice.
Thank you.
We earned that confetti. King h2. Still patiently following the plan we discussed. Note that now bishop f1 actually is failing. King f3. And now, because of opposition, black can't make any progress. He'll just follow you, and you won't be able to take my pawns.
Oh, I see.
So yeah, opposition still is important even here. Good thing we learned about that earlier in the book. So black's king got to g3. That's step 1. Now white's king won't ever be able to move.
Thank you, Heinz Superman, for those 2 gift subs.
So many gift subs, I can't even keep track. Bishop d3. No better is bishop d1, bishop g4, and if you take, well, you don't have to take, but that was the point of bishop d1, is to stop this. But if you take, this is going to be a losing endgame. You can't like get opposition here because I'm going to outflank you.
Oh, yeah.
You have to defend and then I win. So he plays bishop d3. Now he's trying to stop bishop d1 like we talked about, so he went here. But now he's in sort of zugzwang, I guess. He plays bishop d3. Here's some analysis from Jack Peters, the person who had black in this game. And Silman comments on it. Bishop b3 to stop this would not have changed the result. Here, repeating. King g2. Now we're going back to e1. Because again, there's not going to be a stalemate trick. You can't put your bishop here. And stalemate when my king gets to e1, like earlier. So now we're going to go back. We're going to go back jack. Okay, let's see. King g2. Skip over some of his notes here. Let's say we keep preventing bishop d1. King f1. King e1. And now we get to play bishop e2. Again, you don't want to play bishop d1 with black and then they trade and get opposition. Then you can't approach anymore. But now has to play bishop a2. It's the only move to not lose the pawn. Well, I guess, yeah, he can't even make any king moves, right? I was thinking he could move his king and allow this, but it's, it was like the stalemate from before. So bishop a2. Now we can play bishop d1. Yes. Bishop b1. Bishop d3. King d1. Now we got our king over to the queen side. That's going to be the winning idea. King here takes and wins. Unstoppable.
Man, that was tough.
Yeah. So, but he didn't play bishop b3. This would be to stop bishop d1. He allowed bishop d1 by playing bishop d3, which might be even considered a tougher defense.
Your mind is blown by the endgame, Manma?
Why aren't the pawns moving? That's a good question. Probably because of the rules of chess. So bishop d1. We got there. He just pokes the bishop for fun. Bishop f3. This allows a pretty finish. Also losing would have been bishop f1. It wouldn't have made any difference, he says. Bishop b1. This forces white to lose control and allow king g2 next move. There's no move you can play other than this. You could... Okay, moving your king would be worse, I guess. and hang the pawn.
Yeah.
So you could try this, but now we can play king g2. And then you can't keep your bishop on this diagonal either, which is kind of funny. So you move your bishop away. And this is easily winning. Black wins this position compared to the starting position because his bishop's already penetrated here. Last time the bishop was over here. And then he was playing bishop e2 and tricking you, you know. But now that our bishop's on b1, we're going to win. For example, bishop e2 is not going to work. We can just take the pawn. Winning a pawn. So bishop g4. Bishop a2, bishop e2. I assume bishop b3. Yes, bishop b3 zugzwang. The bishop must give up control of the pawn, which is not great, or allow king d1, which is going to also win. I guess I'd play bishop d3, yes. Also, by the way, king d3, it's bishop takes c4. Always that little trick there. So bishop d3, bishop f1, and wins. King c3 takes. Can't stop me. Let me make sure I'm on the right spot. It's here. So here he plays bishop f3 instead of bishop f1. Now let's see if you can find the winning move here, the game-ending move. Black to play. It's a little tactic, a little bit, sort of a tactic.
All right, let's see.
Yeah, Manmoth, that's right. He did all of that to get his bishop to b1, right? Moved his king out to g3 and then back again. But his bishop was on b1 at the end of the day. It's tough.
You could go bishop d3.
Very good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Very good stuff. Threatening the pawn where it can't be defended sufficiently.
And if king takes, then you take their bishop, then you've got
You
the
just win
opposition
that,
too,
yeah.
and they have to step away.
Exactly right.
Mm-hmm.
And if they go here, you can win by outflanking like we've seen.
Yeah. Wow.
And by the way, bishop b3, that would win eventually, but not right away because we can go here and defend it. And then you have to keep working.
Yeah,
You should just go back here, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, after bishop d3, he just resigned. Game over. It's a really nice endgame there by the international master, Jack Peters.
Yeah, that's a very cool one.
Yeah, he was very patient and just moved around and around until he found a winning idea.
Mm-hmm.
But anyways, this might be a good place to pause, huh?
Yeah,
What do you
which
think?
is that still in chapter
Yeah, we're still in
section
part 8.
part.
Yeah. Well, actually, you know what? Why don't we finish this last example?
Oh,
Actually, you know what? No, yeah, it's just one example. We maybe can finish it. What do you think? 25 minutes. I don't know how much time you want for playing people, because it might take us all the way to 8.
Yeah, Ben got here a little bit earlier than I thought. So are
Well,
you?
we can leave it for next
I
time.
mean,
then.
I would like to finish because I like to go 2 hours,
Right.
and I think we could finish it. I just didn't know if he was waiting on us to finish, but
Right.
I told him I was going to go till 8.
Mm-hmm.
So but let's just keep going.
All right.
Hopefully he won't start yet. Oh, you are going to start at 8? Yay! Because if you start, then all our people might leave.
The player with white in this game is somebody that my dad played, Kuznetsov.
Kuznetsov. Oh, he's prepping. That means he's going to do a teaching stream. Yay.
Oh, nice. I can't wait to tune into that.
Yeah. Love teaching streams.
Yeah, my dad played Kuznetsov. He, tricked him at the end. I remember he let the guy promote a pawn, but then it was forced mate. I think that was that game.
Hey, the tall. How do you spell it?
Kuznecov.
Oh, it does have neck in it. Kuznetsov, just like it sounds.
So we're going to be in the middle game here for a minute, at least.
Cool. Yeah, not a kids class, just for the stream. He's prepping something. But
Make sure this is right.
you might be joking.
JK, LOL.
Hey, Minucius.
It'll be a kid's class because his son will be there. This looks right.
Wow.
All right, this is Kuznetsov against Silman himself from 86.
Okay, cool.
Black to play. So here, black fixes white's pawns on light squares before stepping into a minor piece endgame. This shows how one can prepare a favorable endgame right in the middle game. e5 exclam. Good move by Silman. Clamps down on d4, which is nice because maybe we could play rook d4 or knight d4. Oh yeah, he says it prepares knight e6 to d4. And also fixes the pawns on white squares, which is nice because we both have a white square bishop. White's position is now extremely uncomfortable. Nice. Just goes back. Had enough of that, I guess. Queen d7 exclam. Very nice. Simultaneously hitting a4 and d1. Forcing white not only to trade queens, but also to play another pawn on a white square. A very poor endgame indeed. In fact, this is a lost endgame for white. And it looks bad positionally. Mm-hmm. All he has to do is put his bishop on f2. He's fine. You know. But it doesn't quite work like that. With so many of white's pawns on light squares, it's hard to imagine white saving the game. All black needs is patience. Slow improvements in this pawn structure, kingside space, and piece position, followed by penetration into white's camp, should be enough to eventually claim the full point. Here. Now white's knight has to guard against the pawn forever, and the bishop can't even help, can't go here. Oh, it could, actually. I thought you could take it, just protect it. So yeah, I guess he could try to do this. Maybe he does that, let's see. Goes here first. Let's grab a little kingside space, can't hurt. Putting pressure on e4. Now, then this makes white wonder, is he going to play f4, or is he going to take, or what's the deal, you know? He has to be aware of both those scenarios. That's nice, keeping the tension there. So, in fact, white takes to avoid that. But now black has a potential pass pawn coming up. Oh no, he plays h4. I thought he could do this and try to do that, but it's defended. So he plays bishop d3, and then black plays h4. Black's threatening to play h3 and undermine this pawn. Then he'll have two connected pass pawns if he takes the f pawn. Assuming he played gh, I guess. So now Kuznetsov plays h3 himself. This is too much. Putting another pawn on a light square can't be healthy. He could have played bishop e2, understanding he's going to passively suffer for a long time. But this would have been a better defense. Almost certainly this loses anyway. But this helps. Bishop e8 exclam. To go to g6. This prepares f4 check, followed by the bishop penetrating to try to win the pawn like this. Or even a c2, actually. So bishop d1 to prevent bishop c2. Check. Then he goes to b1. Knight e2. This ends things quickly, he says, but even the more resilient king e1 couldn't hope to nullify the advantages for black. e4 is winning. Bishop f5 is good. Knight... oh, he says bishop f5, knight a2, knight c2 check is also winning. f5, knight a2, knight c2 check. Wouldn't I just go king d2 then? Well, anyways, I would play e4 here if I could. This would have been a better defense, though. Instead, he goes here. e4. What's the move you want to play? Of course, if he took the knight, we'd play e3 intermezzo first, and then take back, then have two connected pass pawns. So he took this one, takes exclam, intermezzo again, takes here. The game's over. White can't stop this, or he can't stop both, bishop c2 and the king infiltrating to d4. I guess he'd go this way to stay on dark squares. So he goes bishop g4, which doesn't seem like the best defense. I'd at least try bishop d1. But sure, okay, he's still going to go here and win. Bishop c2. Even gives this check. And resigns. He said, Silman said he made cat and mouse the first topic in this part, since the idea of patience will overflow into many kinds of endgames. That's absolutely true. Absolutely true. So we finished this part, the part about cat and mouse, but we're not done with part 7 or section 7. 8? 8.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I got confused by the e4 move.
Here?
Just wanted to look again.
Also, somebody said, why not king takes? It wouldn't change much, right? Here, you probably have to go here. And then we'll still win the way that Silman said.
Mm-hmm. Was the point... Can you go back to right before e4?
Here. Well, the idea is he wants to play e3.
Okay.
If you let him. So he doesn't let him, right? But now, after the bishop gets here, the g-pawn is weak, so your king is tied down to defending the g-pawn.
Oh, I see.
And
I just wasn't sure. Like, from a strategy standpoint, since I'm so much lower, I would think, maybe I could... Well, no, that wouldn't work anyway. Never mind.
Yeah, I mean, the only way to make progress is to play e4. There's nothing else that black can do. Well, black can, attack the pawn, and then you defend it.
Right, again, yeah.
And then, okay, then they go back. So, but he has to play e4 eventually, right?
Okay.
That's the only thing he can do at this point. He's got no more pawn breaks, right?
Mm-hmm.
Don't think he's going to go here.
Right,
Well,
okay.
maybe.
I just was... I don't
Yeah.
always see the pawn breaks that I need to make.
Right. Well, you don't have any options there.
That's true.
So this time it's actually pretty easy. You got no
Yeah.
other possible options. You got to do that eventually. But yeah, the reason this is winning is because the king can't stop me from running in here because he's got to defend
Tied down.
this.
Okay, I see that now.